present reality of politics in Nigeria portrays a system that is under siege by the actions, inactions, and reactions of the aging political drivers of the country in policymaking and implementation. Good afternoon and welcome to Political Standpoint. I am Precious Amayo. Now, before we start the program, let's take you through some political stories in the course of the week. Now, aspirants contesting various political offices are currently trooping to the National Secretariat of the ruling All Progressives Congress in Abuja to obtain nomination forms ahead of the primaries election of the party. Now, despite the controversy over the amount set for the sale of forms, the party secretariat is buzzing with activity. Correspondent Habida Lawal reports.
At the 11th National Executive Committee meeting of the All Progressives Congress Party, President Muhammadu Buhari had warned against imposition of candidates and money politics. And yet, the high amount set especially for nomination forms for the presidential race seemed to contradict his appeal. But this has not stopped the influx of aspirants for various political offices as the All Progressives Congress Party begins its sale of forms. The party's national secretariat has become a beehive of activities. This sale of forms was initially supposed to commence on the 23rd of April, but was later shifted to the 26th of April. An aspirant from Adamawa State, Abdulrazak Namdez, is here to pick his nomination form and expresses confidence in the process put in place by the party. He says the APC has what it takes to regain power in Adamawa State.
Adamawa is an APC state. I have said it time without number. The incumbent governor won an election through a rerun, and anybody who won an election through a rerun, he had already sweated out. And we had issues, we had small issues during our primaries that culminated to why we had issues. But today, we have learned our lessons, and we are all on the same page. We are not going to fight ourselves. All the aspirants together, we know that we want to go to government house, and we will work together. Whoever emerges at the end of the day, all of us are follow. I am hopeful that I am going to be the candidate that will emerge, and I can assure you, by the special grace of God, others will always support my aspiration.
Another aspirant from River State says consensus should not be an option, and all aspirants should be given equal opportunity and the right to contest.
And the law for building a consensus is clear about the parties that are subject to that consensus. Up to this afternoon, you know the processes. Go and check from the party secretary, those who have paid and those who have not paid. I think that will give you a clear indication as to a group of friends, well-wishers that start together and say that they have endorsed someone. No endorsement. They can endorse people, but no consensus, has been reached.
The party will consider which mode the primaries will take, while aspirants continue to troop in to collect nomination forms.
The ruling All Progressives Congress Party says it is yet to decide on the zone which will produce its 2023 presidential candidate. Now, National Chairman Senator Abdullahi Adamu disclosed this while speaking to State House correspondents after presenting the party's candidate for the Ekiti governorship election, Biodun Oyebanji, to President Muhammadu Buhari. He said APC flag bearer will be chosen at the convention of the party. Mr. Adamu was accompanied to the presidential villa by the Ekiti governor and chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum, Kayode Fayemi, Kebbi governor and chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum, Atiku Bagudu, and national secretariat of the APC, Senator Iola Omishori. All right, let's turn to still on politics. The national leader of the All Progressives Congress and presidential aspirant, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, has picked the APC presidential nomination and expression of interest forms. The former Lagos State governor was represented by Honorable James Faleke, who is also a leading member of the Tinubu support group, and some of his close associates, including member representing Agege Federal Constituency in the National Assembly, Babatunde Adejare, and the former secretary to the government of the Federation, Babache Lawal. The Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has also picked the All Progressives Congress governorship nomination and expression of interest forms. The governorship expression of interest and nomination forms were later presented to Governor Sanwo-Olu at the Lagos Governor's Lodge by the Chief of Staff to the Governor.
We are here to buy the forms on behalf of our leader, Senator Ahmed Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is away to Saudi Arabia on Umrah. We believe that come May 29, 2023, we'll have a bigger press coverage during the inauguration.
We bring the people's decision to favor Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and to, of course, continue to improve the laws of this country and take us to a level that will be comparable to any developed country in the world.
The response has been tremendous. We have covered we have blanketed the entire Southwest. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has already in his pocket 40 million votes from the Southwest. But you know that Swagger has even moved beyond Southwest. We have moved to the South, to the Southeast, to the North Central, to the Northwest. Everywhere in Nigeria, Swagger is there. On the Northeast, we are everywhere in Nigeria, and we are prepared for these primaries. We are also prepared for the general elections.
And staying with politics, the People's Democratic Party is not leaving any stone unturned in selecting its presidential candidates. The party's screening committee has now disqualified 2 of its aspirants. Chairman of the screening committee and former president of the Senate, David Mark, announced the development to journalists after the exercise in Abuja, but he declined to reveal the names of the disqualified aspirants, stating that the affected persons failed to meet the necessary requirements. He also said the panel did not make recommendations for refund of the nomination form fee to the disqualified aspirants, adding that the committee report would be submitted to the PDP National Working Committee. According to one of the aspirants, Senator Ayim Pius Ayim, the screening was designed to verify the candidate's membership and financial status, academic credentials, and other requirements for a presidential candidate as spelled out in the Constitution. In the meantime, Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has affirmed that leaders and members of the People's Democratic Party will rally behind anyone whoever emerges the party's presidential candidate after its primaries. He stated this at the Oyo State Government House, Ibadan, when Akwa Ibom State Governor Udom Emmanuel met with party delegates from the Southwest geopolitical zone.
The 2023 general election is fast approaching, and political aspirants from different political parties have been crisscrossing all regions to declare their intentions. In view of these, political activities such as consultations and meeting of party delegates to solicit their support remains an important strategy. Governor Makinde, while addressing delegates at the meeting, maintains that delegates from the state are always ready to pitch their tents with the endorsed candidate of the party.
This is PDP, because after we have chosen the flag bearer, we are also going to work together to rescue Nigeria, to support whomever God has decided, to give to us at this moment. Yes, he would like me to commit and say, yes, all the delegates in the Southwest will vote for him.
We'll rescue, we'll restore.
Governor of Akwa Ibom State says that the next Nigerian president should be capable of lifting its economy from grass to grace.
I think now is the time. Now is the time. What time is it? Now is the time. What time is it? Time to say it is enough. Enough to the brain drains in this country. Enough to the sliding currency of this country. Before we know it, Naira is almost becoming ordinary paper. Enough to the current underemployment in this country. Enough to the neglect of education in this country.
So you need a man who have the understanding of how to bring back our Naira that is now 600 to $1 back to where it was even before 2015.
Earlier, Governor Makinde was screened by PDP Governorship Screening Committee for the Southwest Geopolitical Zone. This was done by a 7-member screening committee headed by a former governor of Kaduna State, Senator Ahmed Makarfi. Oladio Yewole, TVC News, Ibadan.
All right, back to the program. Some say the current crop of leaders running the economy of this country is a paradigm shift from what was obtainable in the post-colonial era, now where the nationalists who agitated and achieved independence from Britain were in their youth. But in Nigerian politics today, the reverse is the case. Taking a survey of youth representation in politics, the political leaders in present-day Nigeria are above 50 years of age. About 80% of the population of our political leaders are not youth because this same set of political leaders are recycled. For instance, President Muhammadu Buhari's first regime as a leader of Nigeria, although military, was in his youth day in 1983. It is a shocking reality that 32 years later, the same President Buhari is in power as a president in a democratic system, and he has a handful of young people around him. Now the question is the youth of Nigeria under siege? Now wisdom, they say, comes with age, but has this wisdom been transferred into Nigerian political and economic policies? Ahead of the 2023 presidential election, quite a number of young candidates have declared their intention to run for the country's #1 office. But what are their chances of emerging as the candidates of their political parties and then eventually winning the ballot? Joining me for more insights on is a presidential aspirant on the platform of the African Democratic Congress. He's Chukwuka Monye. Good to have you join us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So I'm sure that a lot of people will be wondering, are we back in the 2019 era where we had a lot of young people? For example, we had Taladu Otoye, who was running in 2019. There was Showore, who was running in 2019. Well, some might even have considered someone like Imogalu young at that time, fresh and young at that time. But there were a couple of young people who were running in 2019, and none of them sadly emerged as president. But when you look at that scenario, one wonders why we have more people again this year, and you're one of them. What inspired you to run?
I think that... so first of all, I always recognize and appreciate those that ran in the 2019 elections because everything is a process. They started something and there's been a build-up. So it's good that they started. So it's always important to recognize that. But in terms of what inspired me, I think it's a number of things. Number one is I liked the way you introduced this subject because at the end of the day, if according to the United Nations, Population Fund, under 45s are about 87%, okay? If you have 87% of your population as under 45, the question is, why don't they have representation in leadership? So there were two things that sort of led to my decision. Number one was that we're all complaining and lamenting about the situation. But we're not doing anything about it. So I saw a pattern that I'll go into conversations with my friends and everyone was complaining, but nothing happened. And there was a time I said, okay, guys, what do we need to do? They said, we just need to step up. That is beyond PVCs. Because some people said, oh no, that they're not even getting their PVCs because there's no reason to get PVCs, but that if they had representation, then fine. So I said, really? Okay, let's all go. And I said, let's start. Now, it was a very interesting process because, of course, once I just announced, there was a lot of negative, sentiment because they're not used to it. But over the last several weeks now and a few months, you can see that there's a build-up, and it's expected. You cannot have 87% under 45 and they not have representation. One of the things that has been really fascinating about this process for me is the number of young people coming to bring ideas just because they can identify
with a young
person as well. They're coming with ideas. I'm talking of all the different issues that are leading to different crises in the nation, from power. They come and give you some solutions that are democratized and retail in nature for power. They tell you how to pay for it. So I'm now thinking, why are the young people not even providing these ideas and solutions to the current government or previous government.
And why, or why are they not running themselves if we have the solution?
Well, but the running is a different issue because you start to talk about
absolutely
a lot of barriers.
We will get there very soon.
Yeah.
But let me ask you, because you said something about people not being used to it.
Yes.
And one of the things that we're not basically used to in Nigeria is to see someone who has not been in politics all their lives, not run for any office, and then you spring up and say, I want to run, and not just for any office, you're running for the highest office in the land. Some will say, maybe he should go back and start from his local government. That's the usual sentiment.
Correct.
And I want to get your reaction to that. Why are you not starting from within your locality?
You're not giving one point. I wanted to give the second point before I answer this one. So the second point, I said the first one was just, responding rather than just complaining. The second point is, the poverty situation, the fact that the Nigerian name, the Nigerian brand is in tatters as far as I'm concerned. And if we are the majority, we're the only ones that can bring it back to life.
And that's young people.
And that's young people, yes. So that's that. So why not local government, for instance? If you look at the economy today, despite the fact that it is not as enabling, the business environment is not as enabling as we would like it to. If you want to count the businesses that are successful despite all, it's still businesses run by young people, from the fintechs to the edutechs to all the techs, digitally driven economy. And that's the future. And there's no way you can tell me that somebody that is not in this age group and not in this generation will lead those people in an economy that is digitally driven when they don't. Most of them have us managing their social media accounts. So how are you going to tell me you would know how to lead me when you don't even understand my language? How will you communicate with me?
And I remember you said, every time your daughter gets into a car, the first thing she's looking for is Wi-Fi.
She's looking for
Wi-Fi in the car. So she's going to produce a car is probably a Wi-Fi enabled car, which shows the different generational difference. And I do agree with you on that. But it is not a smooth journey. It has never been a smooth journey, not even for professional politicians, as we now call them. But you are running on the platform of the ADC.
ADC, yes, correct.
And in that party, we have someone like Kingsley Moghalu, who is also running, and many have touted that he might be the flag bearer of the party. What are your chances of emerging as the flag bearer of your party? And if you don't, what next?
Okay, good question. The party has quite a number of good aspirants. And I think that's what's exciting about this process. And it should be encouraged. We're about 10 aspirants now. Of which Professor Kingsley Moghalu is one of them. So he's great because he brings a different sort of dimension to the kind of people that we have. But on the field of aspirants, we have quite a number of interesting people, even different ages. We have someone that's 35 years old. So I think in terms of chances, one of the things that people need to also recognize is that there are different stages to the process. One is your primaries, right? You emerge first before we start talking about general elections. And what is required for the primaries is not necessarily things that people know. It's not just popularity.
Not PVC,
it's not PVC. There's a different dimension to that game, aspect of that game. And I think it's important that people just that they're patient, and just wait through this process for someone to emerge before we take it to the next level.
Okay, so we'll try and be patient, but we also, for those who are following you, I'm very sure you have a lot of followers at this moment.
Yes.
Some of them might even consider themselves fans. We want to know, where is he leading us and where are we going to? If he doesn't emerge in this party, where is he going to? Where do we follow him? But let me also ask, because something remarkable happened in 2019 where all of the young aspirants came together, fresh and young, some of them not too young, but at least fresh on the scene, and we're looking for a way forward to merge and produce a singular candidate to represent them. But that was impossible. And then everyone went to the polls. Some had as low as 6,000 votes, and people felt this was a waste of votes. Maybe we could have come together, support another candidate, and then add those votes for that candidate. Nigerians generally complain about split votes. Do you think that that might be something that is of a challenge for you if you even make it as the ADC candidate? What are your chances of emerging as president? Wouldn't it be better to support a candidate that you know has better chances of winning the elections?
The times are different. 2019 and 2023, very, very different. You know, like I said earlier, the aspirants and the candidates at the time did their best, and they did relatively well. However, you had the Buhari factor. The president was still the incumbent. And people really felt there was no chance for anybody anyway. Now, what's the difference between that time and now? There's no Buhari factor. He's not coming back.
So there is a chance for everyone.
There's a chance for everyone. That's the reason why you're seeing so many people, you know, in all the parties. 15 as the last count for PDP, 15 in APC. It's incredible. I'm not sure Nigeria has experienced this before. But there's that sense of, okay, now if there's going to be any time for this to happen, the time is now. And everyone who feels they have the capacity or competence, they're all stepping up, right? Now, what are my chances should I emerge? I think that if you carry out any poll today, you will find out that what people are looking for is freshness and, where possible, young person. And I think that's really it. You know, it's to emerge first and let people know that we have a chance. And that's what I tell people, even when I'm moving around. I say, we need to give ourselves a chance. Don't think that it's impossible, because guess what? You own the keys. You have the keys. You can't tell me under 45, 87%, and you say it's not possible. Unfortunately,
the people who fill those polls are not the people who vote. If you go by,
changing.
Well, maybe in 2023 it might change. Maybe young people will go and vote, but we have the highest number of PVCs. We actually don't vote. It is the market women, the traders who actually vote.
Historically, yes, but it's changing.
Hopefully it changes in 2023, because in 2019 it was the same thing. But I'm going somewhere. And people think that it's because young people are not disenchanted. They are dissatisfied with what's going on in the country, and they've decided that, look, until we see a reason to go out and vote, we are not going to vote. After all, some of them will say their votes don't even count in the first place. You have said that you have a vision for this country, and you have structured around, I think, security. There is institutional reforms, and there is unemployment. And I want to begin with unemployment. It is the biggest challenge in this country. Some people will say that that unemployment, insecurity stems from unemployment that we're facing today.
I agree.
Which has now led to more unemployment, leading to more insecurity, more like two-pronged demons that we're facing.
Correct.
What are you going to do about the numbers? Almost 40% of Nigerian youth are unemployed. Somebody called it 40% of hopelessness. How do you fix that?
I don't even believe in the 40%. I think it's worse, but we can work with that. It's bad enough, okay? Now, the 40%, I think when we put out stats such as, 40%, it reinforces the point I made earlier about the potential we have and what we are configured to do. Now, it's very possible that through strategic alliances with different foreign institutions and focusing on the digital economy, what I've defined as the digital economy, you can rapidly get people engaged, even from their homes, and they start to earn income. That's different. You can't tell me that a typical politician would give you that kind of solution. And this is the solution that even younger people than I am are coming with. They're saying, this is what I do every day. I just need support in X, Y, Z. And I'll sit down and I'll be earning income at home. That's one angle. But even if we say, okay, let's move a little bit away from the digital space. Let's go into production. Let's go into manufacturing. Let's go into all these other things. Let's bring in some foreign direct investment. Guess what? For all those things to come in, you need... Why are we not getting FDI today? Why are we losing a lot of foreign investment today? People have lost confidence. What will bring confidence? That the people have buy-in into a vision. They have buy-in into a visionary leader. So where is that going to come from? Now, if you're going to come from the current system where most states and many of the governors have not performed well, where we are even saying that some of the states can't even survive, they're bankrupt, where would the leader come from if you say it's going to come from the system? But you want to give foreign direct investors confidence, bring in someone new, bring in a technocrat, bring in someone who has capability for transformation. That's what we should be thinking about. That's why when you talk about, skills for being a local government councillor and all that kind of stuff, I'm like, really, guys? Right now, what we're talking about is not a skill to be able to issue contracts. No. We're in a crisis, and the way we can solve it is for young people to get engaged. I was with some young people yesterday. I was with youth yesterday evening, and they said, for them, it's even exciting that an aspirant president is in their midst. They are eating with him. So when you get into Aso Rock, I'm likely going to engage a lot of the people that I know. And who are they? They are young. For them, they are seeing this as a generational move. It's not, and it's time. Most of us in that generation, everything about Nigeria that is supposed to be good is history and is stories that we were told. We've not experienced it. We want to experience it in our lifetime. If Dubai can do it, we can do it.
Absolutely. The thing is about Nigerians know that there's hope for Nigeria. It's just how to get there and who to get out of the way to get there. I think that's what the challenge is. And 2023 poses a lot of hope for Nigerians. I wish we could really talk about your plans, but I'm told my time is up. I'm going to have you. I mean, time flies. I know. I'm going to have you again once your party holds the Congress. Yes. If you emerge, I would have you again. If you don't, I would have you again to talk about, your next plan. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
ADC presidential aspirant Chukwuka Monye. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you very much.
And that's the program today. It's been Political Standpoint. We'll bring you a repeat of this, I think, subsequently in the day. You'll see a repeat of this conversation. Like I said earlier, we're going to have Chukwuka Monye to talk to us more about his plans. We didn't have enough time for that today. We would also have more presidential aspirants as the conversation continues. Thank you so much for watching. I am Precious Amaya.